guys, it is Carl Brown from GuitarLessons365.com. Got a great one from Poison today. We're learning how to do Life Goes On. Now this one has one of CC Deville's greatest solos. It is a killer guitar solo. So we're going to take a look at that as well when we get there in the video. But we're going to do the whole song. We're going to do all the rhythm guitar parts, that little intro solo that I just played, but just one of the harmony lines, and then the full solo as well once we get there. So we've got a lot to get to here. Now before I do, please subscribe to the channel if you have not already, of course, and ring the notification bell. Kind of helps you get notified whenever I release a new video, and if you watch the videos, you'll get notified even more. That's probably the best way to kind of make sure you don't miss any of my content. And if you really want to support what I do here on YouTube and get something more for it, join my Guitar Academy. You're going to see a link to that in the description below. That'll give you a free 7-day trial too, that link. And you'll have full access to all of my courses and with just one subscription to the Academy across all major app platforms. So it's a good deal. And we got a great community going over there. I'm live every Saturday with just Academy members so they can ask me questions in real time, like a live stream. And we've got courses for complete beginners and more advanced courses in technique, improvisation, ear training, theory, guitar tone. So it's a lot of stuff there. So please go check it out. All right, so let's jump into this track. Now I'm in E-flat standard. Most tuners are going to read it, their chromatic notes as sharps. So what that will be is the low E string is down to a D sharp, the A string down to a G sharp, the D string down to a C sharp, G string down to an F sharp, B string down to an A sharp, and the high E string down to a D sharp as well. All right, so now that we're in tune, let's start with this intro. So there's kind of two set parts to this, well, more than that actually. The intro, we have the chords underneath, so I was going to show you that first, and then that little solo. That solo is a harmonized guitar line. I'm kind of going to just teach the main harmony part, so we don't have to kind of figure out all these multiple harmony. You have 4 guitar players in your band to play it. So anyway, let's just stick here with the chords first though. So the chords of the intro look like this. To the verse there. So that's just going to start here with this little really bass line 3-2-0 on the low E string. And then we get to that open E, just kind of start strumming across an E minor chord. And then kind of go back up. So we just go to 0, 2, 3 to go back to the 3rd fret. And then when you get there, with this. From there, we just go to a D major, to an A major. Then you kind of start over again. Now, the second time through, though, we're going to do a different ending. We're not just going to go D major to A. After you get to that, move back up, that 0, 2, 3, and back to this G, the second time through, we're going to do this. A major to G to like F sharp minor. So that's just a full bar at the 2nd fret there, with the 4th fret on the A and the D in front of it. But really what you're hearing mostly in the recording is just the F sharp power chord, so you can just really just play the bottom 3 strings. So that 2nd fret on the low E, 4th on the A, 4th on the D, down to an E minor. And then it takes us to the verse. So let me play through that one more time for you, and then we'll take a look at that little solo over it. right, so we'll get to that B minor in a second. That's really the first chord in the verse. All right, so now over that, we have this little melody right here. It looks like this. So pretty simple. We're gonna start, you can kind of like doing that. Kind of helps you know where you're starting. That's the beginning of the song, and then jump up here. So that's sliding into the 20th fret there on the B string. And then pick it a few times. Then down to 19, 17. Then do that again. So you do that twice. And then go back up, 19, 20, 22, 20, 19, 17. So far we have this. Then go back to that. And you kind of start the same note again. But right here he does a little variation. He goes, slides to 20, then back up to 22, and then come back down, 20, 19, 17. So, second time after this, 3, 2, 0. And then we start the little descending line that ends it. So, that's just 19, 17, then pick 17 a few times, then 17 to 15, pick 15 a few times, 15 to 14, pick 14 a few times, and then pick 14 again, 12, 14, 15. So let me play through that whole intro section again, just a solo. Now I'm gonna kind of dial it back a little bit. He kind of has like kind of a crunch sound, a little bit of hair on this clean guitar part here for the verse. It looks like this. Kind of comes into a bigger sound again for the pre-chorus. So let's look at the chords first. So part of this verse, a lot of this, especially not the first chorus so much, but the other chords are kind of buried in the mix. So what I'm picking up here first is just a standard B minor chord that he's picking across. I'm not trying to do any specific, he does not do any specific pattern. Just kind of filling up space, right? So just around a B minor. That's a bar from the high E string across to the 5th string, and then at the 2nd fret. And then in front of that, you're gonna have the 3rd fret on the B, 4th fret on the G, and then the 4th fret on the D. So just kind of pick it across. And then it goes to this A chord. Now it sounds like to me like an A sus4, and you'll also sometimes hear the open G right before he goes to the G chord. You hear that in there, and so basically it just makes it, if you just do that much of it, which is basically open A string, 2nd fret on the D, and the A, and then the 3rd fret there on the B, open high E, that's an A sus4 chord. That's mostly what he's doing, but I think when he's transitioning to the G, he'll hit that open G as he goes to the G chord, and if you counted that as part of the A chord, then that would be A7 sus4 chord. But I think what he's doing is basing around an A sus4. Kind of just pick the first two bottom strings and then come up and hit the high E and then the A string. And then he hits the, as he goes to the G, he hits the G chord, he hits the open G string. So it's more of like a transition thing to the G. So we have this. So after you've picked across the G, it does this. It's kind of buried in the mix too, but it's kind of subtle, but it's there. So kind of randomly pick across the G, and then he does, which is a second fret on the low E string, open A, then back to the G. Then quickly transition to the A chord, and kind of pick across that very briefly before. It's more like a passing chord back to the B minor to start the riff over. So we have this so far. Second time through, when you get to that G, that's the end of the verse. From there, it goes to the pre-chorus. We're going to kick back in a little bit more distortion, and we have this for the pre-chorus. And to the chorus. All right, there is delay on that. I did not want it, but turn that off. So now the pre-chorus here, so very simple, just that 3-2-0 again. To the E minor, straight to the G. So I had this E minor, G, A. Repeat that, 3, 2, E minor, that takes us to the chorus, which sounds like this. Back to the verse. So that one's interesting. We're going to move from that F sharp minor to an F sharp major chord, which is kind of just kind of functioning as a secondary dominant chord. Takes us back to the B minor there. So we basically have this D major chord, D major, to the A major now. And then we go to an F sharp major chord. So that note that really makes that chord stand out. And so that's just a full bar at the second fret, third fret on the G string in front of it, fourth fret on the D, and fourth fret on the A. That we've already covered, on the A and G. And there's a little bass line there. It's kind of hard to hear. It's there in the mix. I can't tell if it's the bass player doing it or they're also doing it on guitar, so might as well play it on guitars there. So when you get to that G, halfway through the chorus, just go 2 on the low E string, open A, and open D. And then back to that D. All right, from there it goes back to the same verse, same pre-chorus, and same chorus again. So nothing really, like I said, there's maybe slight variations in how he's picking across the notes because he's not really doing a definitive pattern, but it's based around the same chords. And then we get to the bridge section, which is right before the solo. And that looks like this. so that's, you might want to dial back the settings a little bit for that, the bridge. So this one, you're also going to see this same progression done at the end of the song. All right, so that's based around an E minor 7, the first chord, so just kind of pick it across that. So that's just sort of like a standard E minor chord, but then you're going to add the 3rd fret there on the B string. So you notice I'm kind of just picking across the 3 bottom strings or so first, or 4, and then go skip to the high E string and kind of descend. And then we get to an A chord, and what he does here, he does a little hammer pull on it, which makes it a quick sus4 back to the major. So basically, I'm just picking, have the open A string and barring across the 2nd fret of the D, G, and the B. And I'm going to pick across those from the A all the way to the B. When I get to the B string, I'm going to hammer on 3rd fret and pull back off. And kind of pick it back down. And then go kind of pick across B minor. A. So all together for the bridge. All right, so then we get to this solo. So the solo obviously has a rhythm guitar part underneath it. So I'm going to cover that one first. So let me play through that for you real quick. And here we go. Back to the pre-chorus. All right, so we basically just have this. It's similar to progressions that we've done earlier, and you're just kind of combining them. There's a couple of progressions here underneath the solo. It's a pretty long solo. So we're going to start here with that 3, 2, 0, down to the E minor, to the G, the D, and the A. Then we go back to the 3, 2, 0 again to start a new progression, where so it starts with the same 2 chords, but then it goes a little bit different from there. So it looks like this: the E minor, the G. Then we go from the A to the G, F sharp. It's kind of like in the intro there, basically. So it look like this. All right, so that's basically the intro chords, and then it goes to the chords of the chorus. So nothing really new there. It's 2 progressions we've covered before. They're just combining them under the solo. All right, so let's take a look at the actual solo itself. So I'm going to play through it for you real quick, and then I'll show you how to play it note for note. Here we go. right, so that is a fantastic solo. A lot of people back in the day had these strong opinions about CC and that he was not a good player and he was just in a little pop band and stuff like that. But he has some solos that are absolute gems. This one included. So hope you guys will appreciate that and maybe try to learn it and learn something from it, because it's quite amazing what he's done with not only this one, he's got a few that are just like incredible. Anyway, I'll get off my CC Deville soapbox. Anyway, so let's start here. So I'm going to start with a rhythm so you know where I'm at. And then he goes into this huge pinch harmonic. It's a bend of the 9th fret on the G string. And then catch the pinch harmonic. Mine's just inside the neck pickup there. Gotta kind of find it on your guitar, I guess. So after he does that bend, he's gonna start tapping. So he's gonna tap as you've got the full bend going. You're gonna tap the 17th fret on the G string. Pull off the tap, release the bend, pull off to 7. So he just kind of pulls off to 7, hammer back on to 9, and then he's gonna tap 14. And then goes back down, pulls off to 9, pull off to 7, hammer back on to 9. So it kind of has this to start. Bend back up, and then tap that 17 again. Pull off, release the bend, pull off to 7, and once again you come back up, you're gonna just tap 14 without the bend. So after that second time of tapping 14, pull back off to 7, hammer back on 9, and into a bend there at the 9th fret there. So all together. All right, then we have a little bit of whammy bar action. So that's gonna be at the 7, 9, 7 on the G, and they're gonna do a bar dip with each one. And then jump up here to the 12th fret there on the high E string. Catch just a little hard pinch harmonic on that one as well. Gonna bend up and then pick it without the bend. And then you hear it go. He kind of slides up the string and then falls off the string so you can hear the open high E string. So like that. And then we'll go to this section. All right, so this is kind of a descending, just kind of a D major. Kind of just really build out of the D major scale, but the way you kind of want to look at this is it's not going to be something you're going to completely get note for note. He's kind of doing a little legato stuff and licks throughout he's just working his way down the scale. There's a couple of sections in this solo where you can just kind of say, okay, let's just kind of recreate what he's doing. He's not playing it the same way every time he plays it anyway. You can see him play it live, and it kind of sounds completely different. He's basing it off, he'll start the same, but it's more about just kind of timing the notes and like working your way down scale and getting there at the right time, and just following the same notes, but he'll do his little legato licks and stuff like that around it, and you can just kind of have fun with that for a couple of seconds instead of trying to get everything exactly note for note. So let's take a look at the path he's taking to get down first. So the notes we're going to be using are the 17, 15, 14 on the high E string, same thing on the B. Then we're going to go 16, 14, 12 on the G. So now he actually goes back up from here and goes up to that 12th fret on the B. I'll explain that when we get there. And then come back down just using the notes 14, 12 on the G and the D and the A. And when you get to that 12th fret on the A, you'll slide it down to 10. So those are the notes we're going to be using. And in reality, you can really do whatever you want there. He starts it by going kind of a staccato thing, which is kind of just 14, 15, 17 on high E, And he'll kind of do a quick little trill between 14 to 15. Hammer pull over to 17 on the B and back. So it, and then kind of do that across the next string set as well. But like I said, I don't want you to stress trying to get this, just kind of recreate the feel of that kind of flowing legato-y lick that he's doing. And then once he gets here, once you get here, 16, 14, and then shift down to the 12th fret here on the G, and then you can hammer back on and hit that 12th fret on the B. So we have this. And then on the way back down from there, kind of favorite little pentatonic, because he's kind of basing around. He's building this out of the really just D major, but you can just kind of take that a little bit out of the kind of 2 notes per string licks. So I'm just kind of legatoing it all the way down between 14 and 12 on all these strings. I want to get down to 12 again, slide that down to 10. So all together. And then here we have a fast ascending legato lick that we can play pretty much note for note. Looks like this. Using a lot of guitar there, big bend at the 24th fret. So I know some people don't have guitars at 24 frets, but hopefully you do. So anyway, he's gonna start this with it after he gets down. He does a slide down the low E string, and then he's gonna start this. So it's a series of trills. The first one though starts with the top note. So you're gonna start the 12th fret on the low E, pull off to 10, and then hammer back in. And then for the rest of them, the trills are gonna start with the index finger. So after he does that, he goes over to the A string and you're gonna do a trill, 10, 12, 10. And then he just does, he goes up here, he's going straight up. So he's going to go straight up here. So that's going to be a trill between 12 and 14 on the A, and the D, and the G, and then 12 and 15 on the B. So remember, this one starts on the top note, and then from there, 10, 12, 10, and then straight trills all the way up. Just the 12, 14s, and then the 12, 15 on the B. And then we're gonna go. So that little phrase, so he slows that down. He goes. He's slowing those notes down as he goes, really building that anticipation, but it's the same lick going up pretty much after the very beginning. So we're gonna start here, 12, 14 on the B. 12, 14 on the high E, then go over to 15 on the B. And then we're gonna start the actual pattern that he's playing. So he goes 12, 14, 15, slide up to 17. And then we're gonna go 15, 17, slide up to 19, 17, 19, slide up to 21, and then 19, 21, and slide up to 22. So look at this. And when you slide to that 22, then you're gonna do a big bend and bring it down and pick it a couple times without the bend. And then you're gonna jump over here. I like to grab it with my index finger here, the 22nd fret on the B string, because that with your index finger, because that allows you to grab real quick with your ring finger, the 24th fret holds that bend there on the high E string, and then release that. So this all together. All right, next lick. All right, so that's a cool little part. So we're gonna start here at the 4th fret there on the G. I'm sorry, 4th fret on the D. 3rd fret on the G. And then into a whole step bend release at the 5th fret on the B. And then you're gonna pick that again with a little pinch harmonica. And that's gonna be 6, and then pick that again, hammer on 7, pull back off the 6, then 7, 5 on the D. Then it's really cool. Little cross string lick. I'm alternate picking that, so it's just gonna start on the 15 on the B string, and then you're just gonna go straight across, 12 on the D, 14 on the G, 15 on the B. So you're gonna repeat that. So start that top note. And it's gonna stop right there at the 14th on the last time on the G string. So top note. All right, from there we have this next lick. So that one's way up here. So we're gonna, what he's doing is he's holding a little bar at the 19th fret here across these 2 strings that kind of facilitates this, and he's doing pretty much pull-offs here. He's gonna, this little pentatonic lick. So we're gonna start here by playing 22 on the high E string, pulling off to that 19 on the high E string, and then the same thing on the B string. So we have that a few times. So you just you can just pick a downstroke, pull off on each string. Remember, you're just barring, because it's not, you can do it like that and kind of recover each time, or you can just do it like he does. So he's letting that kind of finger sit there, and you do that lick 3 times, and then he goes, doubles the pull-offs on the high E string from, like that. So he goes, and then starts to lick again. And does it like twice. So we have this. So. And then up to the 24th fret. Ooh, that's up there. And then release that bend. And then we have, from there, we have this little final section of the solo. All right, so that one's hairy. So we're gonna start here after this. We're gonna go, that's gonna be 22, 21, 19, over to 22 on the B, back to the middle of the high E string, that 19th fret, into a full bend at the 22nd fret on the B. And then we get to this other section in the song where it's kind of really not going to be something you get exactly note for note. It's kind of a random collection of like little legato licks. But we can trace the scale that he's using on the way down. So he's using mostly like a blues scale, a little bit of Dorian notes thrown in there as well. Looks like this. All right, so what I'm doing there, I'm up here, way up here again. Something similar to that. I think I threw an extra note in there. But we're basically gonna start here a little with that kind of a little blues lick thing. So this is the 19th fret on the B. You're gonna hammer on 22, pull back off to 19, over to 22 on the G. So it does that a couple times. And then he does it again, but it's gonna be 21 on the B string instead of 22. And then we go down the blues scale, so when you get up here, kind of repeat that lick like 4 times. When you get here, the 19th fret on the B, you're gonna just now go down 22, 21, 19 on the G. And then 16, hammer on, 18, hammer on 19 on the G. So over to 19 on the D string, back to 16 on the G, and then he does it quick little chromatic thing, going 19, 18, 17 on the D. And then gonna end it with it. It almost sounds like he slides this, but when I ever see him play it live, he's pulling it off. But you can just basically pull off from 19 to 17 there on the A string. All right, so the whole thing. Fucking hell. Something like that. Just kind of make some noise until you get to that note at the bottom. And then you're gonna come up here and end it with these unison bends. So I'm holding this 19th fret on the high string while bending the 22nd fret on the B. And doing that 3 times so they become unison notes. And that is the end of this epic solo. I think that is a fantastic solo. It's hard to get better than that for this style of music. So hope you guys like that. So then we go back to the same pre-chorus and the same chorus again. So nothing really new there. Things are kind of extended out a little bit in both of those sections, but it's pretty simple what they're doing. They're just kind of the same thing we've done before. And then you do get to this outro section, which is mostly finger picked. So I'm gonna whiz my pick in the air. Don't do that anymore. But it's based around the bridge. But it's till we get to that B minor chord, and then he kind of holds on that and just adds a little bass line under it. So it looks like this. All right, so basically I'm just doing some simple, once again, just kind of filling up the sound just like we did in the bridge. So that E minor 7. And the same thing when we get to the A. That little hammer pull there on the A that makes it kind of quick sus forward and then back down to the A. Then we get to this B minor, and what he's doing here, I actually believe that this is 2 guitar parts, because we have this very consistent. Under it with a little bit different tone, we have this. So the 2 different rhythms are really hard to kind of get together. So I think they're recorded on 2 separate guitars, also because they sound different tonally. But I'm trying to basically put that together to make it a little bit easier. We're just kind of keeping that rhythm, that bass, keeping that consistent. So you'll see when I'm playing it. Just make it a little bit easier. I'm keeping that, sustaining that rhythm instead of going dun, 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 dun. So you can do what you want, but that combined with this on top can be pretty challenging trying to do both those rhythms at once, which I don't think they're doing in the recording. So what I'm doing here is around the B minor, all you need is just this 4th fret on the G and the 3rd fret there on the B, and the root note here. So that's at first we're gonna just have this, the bass note's gonna be that 2nd fret there on the A, and I'm just going, so I'm just doing this, and then just every other hit, I'm using my index and middle finger to take those top 2 notes. And I just continue that same rhythm. All you gotta do is, you're gonna leave these 2 fingers there the whole time. You're just gonna go, now the bass note's gonna be the open A string. And then take this over to the 3rd fret there, will be the bass note on the low E string, so you'll pick that string with a thumb. Same rhythm, and then back to the A, open A. Just kind of rotate around that, like. So you do that a few times. Eventually you're just gonna end on that B minor. All right, hope you guys enjoyed it. It's kind of an involved song. It's got some interesting chord progressions, using some fingerstyle stuff, and then obviously a killer guitar solo. But I hope you guys enjoyed it, and if you're still here, maybe you did. All right, I'll see you again soon for GuitarLessons365.com.